Let's talk all the problems that we've been through. Let's talk how the money for the rent through. Let's talk about the problems that we had. Good with the bad, happy and sad. I'm just thankful I got some people that feel the way I do. And if you don't, here's what we can do. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk.
What it is or what it ain't, what it do and what it don't. It's your boy Khalil Williams, and this is Let's Talk. Today's topic is race and stereotypes. And I'm going to welcome our guests here today. We have on my right,
Vania.
And on my left, we have
Joshua.
Okay, let's get into it. Do you think black people can be racist? I'm going to give my answer first. I'm going to say, to an extent, black people can be racist. I think black people can be hateful and vengeful. Racist, kind of questionable.
No, I don't think so. I think we can be prejudiced towards a certain kind of people, but to be racist, nah. I mean, because we were oppressed for many years, I don't think we can be racist, but I don't think so, no.
I could agree with it being to a certain degree, absolutely. On a systemic level, no, we don't have that kind of power, but individually and culturally, absolutely.
Okay, what do you mean by individually and culturally?
Individual racism is, you yourself, your beliefs, your behaviors. Are they prejudiced? Are they discriminatory? And then cultural racism is believing that your culture is more superior than another one. And I would say that that's definitely very possible.
Is black culture not superior to every other culture?
I will not comment on that, but
I feel like if you do at that point, then you would be considered racist, because now you feel like...
So I'm racist because I think that black culture is superior to every other culture?
Right, exactly, because that's what white people did
culturally
to us.
racist.
They felt like, well, yeah, because white people were Caucasians, felt like they were superior to
Anglo-Saxons.
So how does... Basically, how can we say that we're not racist if we're doing the exact same thing they're doing?
Because I love white folks. I ain't even gonna hold you. I mean, I could think our culture is better than some cultures just based on being black and the experience I have and seeing other cultures and learning about them. But at the same time, like, that don't mean I'm necessarily racist to people. Like you said, cultural, I think I'm culturally biased. I don't think I'm culturally racist. I respect and accept other cultures.
I mean, I'm no sociology major. I mean, I personally believe that racism is more so rooted in hate.
I don't hate white people. I think white people cool. It's just some of them I don't prefer to be around. They weird.
Absolutely. But I do feel like it's completely possible for black people to be racist, because there are plenty of black people who hate white people because they're white.
Okay, so let me flip the script. What about the black people that hate people because they black?
Just as bad. Equally racist. Doesn't change.
Well, okay, by definition, I don't believe so. Racism is, by Google definition, is feeling that your race is superior to another person's. I've never seen a black person feel like they were superior to the white race. In words and all other type of stuff, or like the white people getting offended that they're getting called white on Twitter, like, or black people saying, I don't respect white people, all that other type of stuff. That's not racism. I'm gonna just tell you right now, people really get racism confused on what it actually is. Racism is more of a systemic thing because, first of all, race is a social construct in itself that was constructed by white people in order to keep the white majority at the top and the minorities at the bottom. So you cannot oppress people in the system that they literally designed. It doesn't work. That's why reverse racism is just such a dumb, bland, it's just such a dumb argument, because it's like, reverse racism can't exist because white people do not experience systemic racism. Now, black people can be racist towards other minorities because there's not a power dynamic. We're kind of all on the same, and there are, like, an individual can have a privilege, but black people as a whole cannot be racist. But that's not to say there's the people who say you need to have power and privilege, and I'm not saying that's wrong. But you do have to have privilege, which black people are not born with. But power, to say that, it's kind of like you're saying that we're powerless and giving white people all this, like, divine power or something. But does not say that like one day we cannot do the same thing, but as of right now, we don't have that. But are we powerless? No. And another thing is people just get prejudice and racism just mixed up all the time. Like, white people cannot experience racism. They cannot experience systemic racism. They have not experienced being barred from schools because of your skin colors. They have not experienced housing discrimination. They have not experienced unfair renting policies. They have not experienced being blocked from certain home loans or mortgages. Like, that's, a lot of people don't realize that's another reason why white people do not own stuff, is because we literally do not get approved for things. Like, they don't want us to own anything. So until they feel like their lives are in danger every single day by police, or they feel like a random white person can just easily just like snap and take their power away, until you're the only minority in the room and you feel your blackness, or you feel what we feel, you can't experience racism.
So would you not invite them to the cookout?
No, because they be the main ones who are ignorant.
But what if they got the best cornbread and mac and cheese?
Well, I guess that's that obsolete.
What you mean?
Nah, we just gonna have to find someone else.
But ain't nobody else on the block making mac and cheese and cornbread like that.
Like my dad told me, you see a man with a grill on the side of the road, that's your man. You don't have to have anybody come to the family cookout.
That's different. All right. Now, since we on the cookout,
right.
let's say somebody in the family has a white boyfriend or a white significant other, or companion or whatnot, or you just even have white people in your family. And one day, y'all cracking jokes, playing dominoes, probably doing whatever, who knows, outside of grandma's house or whatever house y'all having y'all event at. And, you know what I'm saying, the white family member just so happens to slip up and says the N-word. Is it okay for him to say the word, you know what I'm saying, we get down their back, or is it not okay and we just not say it around them?
I mean, I don't think anybody should say the N-word, since like where it came from and what it means to us. I feel like people throw it around now because it's like reclaiming a word, but I don't think you can reclaim a word that was meant to oppress a group of people.
I mean, in my personal opinion, I don't think it's okay for white people to use the N-word.
Do you think it's okay for black people to use the N-word?
I think that depends on the context. But that, for me, that's my cultural bias, is the fact that if a black person uses the N-word, I won't bat an eye. But if a white person says it, then I'm going to say something. I mean, I'm not going to say they can't say it. They can say whatever they want. Like I always say, freedom of speech does not come with freedom of consequences. Mm-hmm. If you say the N-word, just be ready for whatever comes with that.
All right. Now, what if it's not in a derogatory manner? Like, I walk up to my boy right here, my boy Josh, and I'm like, yo, what's good, my N-word? But I'm white.
I mean, it would make me uncomfortable. Like, this is how I would personally handle that situation. If I don't know you and you say that to your homie, it's gonna make me uncomfortable. But like, it's none of my business. Because at the end of the day, I could say whatever I want to any white person about saying the N-word, right? Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, whether they are going to use it or not is entirely up to them. I can have my opinions on it, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. And the last thing I'm going to do is waste breath trying to tell people what they can and can't say, knowing very well
they're going to say what they want.
They're going to say what they want to say, whether it be in front of me or behind closed doors.
So, same question. Like, if I walked up to you and I'm white, what's good, my N-word? But you know me, though. You know what I'm saying? So, right. It's like I don't have that derogatory or explicit intent. It's more of just like, it's just a phrase, bro. I took the meaning out of the word. I don't see it as a derogatory term. I'm gonna just stick with that word. I was gonna use another one, but you know what I'm saying.
My thing is also with a lot of words we use, if you think about it, like the words we're using now, everything's made up. All of it was made up. So I feel as though with the N-word, like, you white, tell me that, or you say the N-word to me, it's the power I give it. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't have to let it bother me.
Like the reaction you have to it.
Honestly, because a lot of people, I feel as though, they let it get to them, and it's what you give it. It's like what you allow. Because granted, it's not right. You shouldn't do it. I mean, just the principle of it. Mm-hmm. But in reality, I mean, it's what you accept. How you go about it.
I get what you're saying. It's almost like there was an interview Tyler the Creator did not too long ago. It's probably like a few years ago. They were discussing the word faggot, and he was saying I say faggot around Frank Ocean all the time, but that's because me and Frank are cool, and at the same time Frank knows like there's no meaning behind it. He doesn't get offended by it. So I feel as though if you take the meaning out the word, it really holds no power. But on the flip side, I personally think we should start calling white people niggers, because I think they're niggers. They're ignorant. They're extremely ignorant, are they not?
That is true.
I think that really the use of any derogatory term, not to make it because I feel like whenever I take it into that context of any derogatory term, it makes it seem like I'm diminishing that. But in any derogatory term use, it just depends on the context. Mm-hmm. Some, like, if a white person tries to call me the N-word, I'm going to be like, don't bring that over here. But I'm sure that there's a black person somewhere, if they think it's okay to say to me, there's definitely a black person somewhere that they know that made them think that that was okay. So I feel like it's just a matter of being aware of your audience.
The N-word held, I'm not going to say the ER because on camera, but the same way that the N-word holds, like the N-word holds the history of rape, pillage, enslavement, beating, buck breaking, all of that, all the injustices that were done to us, all the horrid things that were done to us, like black women who were experimented on for gynecology, or the black men who were literally breeded to fight other black men to the death and bloodied and battered, or the black men who were raped by their slave owners, or the black men who were raped by their slave owners just to prove that they were all powerful over the slaves and that the slaves had no type of power.
It's how you say it. But like I said earlier, like the one thing though, they just, no matter how it's said from a white person, they take it as, the wrong way. Mm-hmm. But it's all about how you say it.
It's contextual. I think it's
just the context.
I think it's perspective and subjective to a point.
I think a very interesting point that was brought to my attention when I first got here, when I first got to Norfolk State, me being very clearly not fully black.
So before you finish, would you consider yourself a mulatto?
No.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Oh, I personally don't call myself mulatto, but I'm mixed. I'm biracial. I'm black, white, and Asian. Well, I'm black, white, and Asian, so it's not biracial, but I'm black, white, and Asian.
Biracial.
Yes. But I'm very clearly not full black. So whenever I say the N-word,
people looking at you sideways.
They'll ask me, like, "What are you?"
Okay.
That's like the first thing that comes out their mouths. We don't continue the conversation.
Like, hold on. What are you?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And the question isn't, am I full black or not? It's, can I acknowledge that I'm black? And if I can acknowledge that I'm black, then they don't mind me using it.
So what if you didn't identify as black?
If I didn't identify as black, they would pretty much feel like I shouldn't be using it.
But at the end of the day, in society's eyes, you are still black because you have a brown tint to your color. You could pass.
Absolutely.
You could pass for a white person.
I mean, if I didn't identify as black, that would completely just make me ignorant, and that would probably mean I have some self-hate going on. But pretty much, it's just a matter of you can use our terms, and you can. It's like you want you want to be black when you want to be, but you're not going to identify as black.
What did Paul Mooney say? Paul Mooney said he said everybody want to be an N-word, but don't nobody want to be an N-word. Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, I think it's true, but even as you were saying earlier, like people will look at you sideways, so it just raises the question. I know white people are thinking this. Even I think it sometimes. It's like, why do we get upset when other people are using derogatory terms towards us, but when we use it towards them, like, it's just supposed to be all fine and dandy?
I've always wanted that myself. It's just as an observation. It's to me, it's funny, but at the same time, it's like, I guess we have that right to say what we want to say for things we've been through. You guys still don't really just get to say whatever you want. Like, we know the meaning behind the word. We know what we're saying when we say it, and we know the playfulness and also the sadness and the horror that comes behind it. So it's like one of those things where when a when a certain person say it, you know what they mean. And also, when it comes to saying stuff about white people, all fair, love, and war.
It's like this. It's the same to me. It's the same principle as a woman hitting a man and expected not to get hit back. Why would you expect not to get hit back? You just put your hands on somebody. You're not supposed to put your hands on nobody.
Right.
I mean, I think in general, trying to tell people not to say things is just futile all the way around.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how uncomfortable it makes me to hear a white person use the N-word, they're going to say what they're going to say. I've heard my own mother use it. So I'm just like, what am I supposed to tell her? Stop?
Yeah.
Do you think she...
Yeah.
I tried to. And she
Mom,
don't,
just hit her with the, Mom, I'm sorry, I'm uncomfortable with you saying that. It's no disrespect. I just don't. I'd rather you not say it around me. That's what.
But that's my point. Is I can tell somebody I don't like when you use that, but what that what that means.
All right, so that's like let me bring this up then. So we have Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
Now, how you just said your mom uses the N-word and there's really nothing you can do about that. Now, what if in the case of Black Lives Matter, we already got Blue Lives Matter, don't care about that. They're not important. We got White Lives Matter. So boom.
Blue Lives Matter is completely invalid.
Like right. What do you think the reaction in society would be to White Lives Matter? In fact, let me ask a better question. What do you think the social media reaction would be to White Lives Matter?
Would be. I mean, White Lives Matter, I mean, it's not a thing, but people have already said it and tried to make it a thing.
Mm-hmm.
The reaction is exactly as it should be. It's a completely invalid movement because the whole movement exists to try and discredit Black Lives Matter.
I would laugh like I just did. What do they need? I mean, okay, everyone's lives matter, but what do white people have to? What do they have to prove to make sure that their life matters? They're not being abused or oppressed, so yeah, your life matters, but ours matters more.
The whole point of Black Lives Matter is to give acknowledgement to Black people that they haven't been getting. Mm-hmm. So what is there to argue against, you know?
That's the white people, they might feel like, bro, we seeing all this Black Lives Matter. What about the white kids that's getting taken? What about the white babies that's being buried? I don't know why I'm using these joints. White people just be having some crazy crimes, so you never know what's popping off with them. You know what I'm saying? Like they be burying their own babies. Wasn't it a white mother on the news not too long ago? She suffocated her baby and hit him or something like that.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
What about the people who aren't using it to counteract the Black Lives Matter movement? And it's more like, okay, if we're gonna sit here and say Black Lives Matter, all lives should matter. But even in that aspect, who is to really say that your life means more than somebody else's?
Well, the point of Black Lives Matter has nothing to do with one person's life mattering more than the other.
It's more so.
It's more like white lives, they're held to this standard, like this level of importance, right? Mm-hmm. And then Black lives are held to this level of importance. Mm-hmm. So the whole point of us saying something,
you got like dogs
is
like
to
above us, but underneath white people.
Yeah, like it's like the whole point of saying, hey, we're here, we matter too, not we matter. The rest of y'all don't. It's the whole point is to let y'all know that we are equally as important.
Okay, definitely. So this brings me to my next question. I'm gonna ask you this one.
Oh, snap.
Do you think that Black people are the only oppressed people?
No, I think we were oppressed the most out of like all of the other races. I think Native Americans are oppressed, and yeah, I think that's about it. But we are oppressed the most because we've dealt with a lot, even now, or even like centuries before. So I think we are oppressed, definitely.
No.
Why is that?
Not whatsoever. Because if we go back to when the natives were here, I mean...
Would you consider yourself a native?
I wouldn't consider myself anything, honestly.
So what do you identify as? Being?
Right. I would just... Just looking at everything and looking at all the situations, the White Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, etc. I try not to get too involved or put myself in that kind of bubble because it just divides people no matter what. And I'm all for everybody. Just to piggyback off what she said, the reason why I felt, in my own opinion, why they brought the White Lives Matter, like she said, was just to get rid of the whole Black Lives Matter. But they took it in the wrong way than what we were giving it. So how they were perceiving it, they were just saying, oh, they're saying that we don't matter, yada, yada, yada. But that's not true. And it sucks that years down the road, racism is still here. Wait, the whole question was oppression, right? My bad.
It's
Got
still
off
the
topic.
same thing, though. Same thing. Racism is still here. Recently, we just found out that the slaves is actually still legal here. They're literally about to pass a law that abolishes lynching people here.
They already did it.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, and that's crazy too. Like now, all of a sudden you're telling me
it's decades later.
It's now
centuries
abolished. It's now not a thing.
Right. In 2020, we're still saying that lynching people.
Wasn't it last year? Some dude down in North Carolina got lynched.
I think so.
And
I think so. Yeah.
And then they were saying like the KKK, they were going over some bridge in North Carolina as well, stuff like that.
The KKK, man. I think the KKK is funny, and I'm gonna say this because I feel like those are the only group of white folk that'll be like, I'm white and I'm proud.
Right.
Like,
and also
I'm a white man
they could
and
be
I'm
your
proud
neighbor.
to be white. I don't like you.
Facts.
You suck. My hair's blonde. My eyes are blue. You're ugly. You're black. You're a dirty monkey. I'm part of the KKK. We are better than you. Like,
but they won't actually say that in person though.
yes, they will.
Mm-mm.
Bro, I guarantee you met a Klan member right now. He's on you, bro. He's on you like butter on bread.
It's more hidden now, though.
You think
it's more hidden?
I don't think so. I think since we got Trump in office, I think it's well out into the open.
Ever since we got Trump, it's been a lot more, out in the open. A lot more people have been exposing themselves, for sure.
You can see it on their license plates. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I'm waiting for the day I encounter a racist. I'm going to call him sorry. And on top of that, I might even throw the hands with him. He might have to run 30. That just depends on how I feel. I'm still calling him a nigga. Like, I'm really on that. You are white. You are.
But my thing is, what do you want to accomplish doing that?
I just want to piss him off. That's all I care about. Think about our ancestors. You don't think our ancestors was like overly infuriated that they really couldn't do anything? I mean, they could have, but they didn't. Like, that fear is instilled in them. So, like, how do you think that made them feel? I'm about to make you feel extremely uncomfortable.
You seen what was the movie called? It was.
Was it, you talking about Django?
No, I mean that movie too. But it just came out not too long ago. It's with Queen and Slim.
Oh yeah.
And how, well, disclaimer, let y'all know this if you haven't seen it, don't listen to this part. Spoiler alert. Mm-hmm. So, in the end, your own people ratted you out. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy how if we really...
I seen it.
I mean, basically...
I wasn't going to watch it, but
we finna spoil it then, since he already said it. You know...
Your own people ratted you out. And I remember, like, in the movie theater, like, sitting there, going through all the hell that you went through just with the police and everything, just for your own people to just disown you and just say, nah, I want the money.
They put that money on my head.
Right.
So let me ask this. Do you think black people were turning against themselves for a decent amount of money?
Yep. Absolutely.
Not even referring to Queen and Slim. Like, let's say you had a family member right now, have extreme love for him, known him all your life. One day he just decides to murder one of your family members, like your mom or your little brother or somebody else in the family.
That kind of stuff happens, and not even like on that drastic of level. Oh my God, level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Think about.
But for the money though.
No.
It's like
okay.
50K. So.
Taking his monetary value, not necessarily physical like money, but monetary value wise, right? I know way too many sons, black sons, whose mothers put everything in their son's name and ruined their credit before they even become adults. Mm-hmm. That's their own kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, I completely believe that black people will tear each other down just to have things, because plenty of parents put their kids in deep debt before they even make it into adulthood.
I believe a few would. Those are the low-hanging fruit. I see it as there's always a few bad apples in every bunch. So, unfortunately, in our bunch, there would be some who don't like the position they're in, so they would get out of it any way they can.
Yeah, my mom was telling me that, well, not even my aunt was telling me earlier today, actually, she was saying, like, when we was young, when they were young, like, my grandmother, you know what I'm saying, when she was going to jail and whatnot, she used their names, they had charges on their record before they was even in high school. So it's like, I mean, I think systematically, black people will definitely exploit one another to get to a higher spot, and then they'll blame it on, like, oh yeah, I just did it just so I could put my family in a better situation, but you destroyed another black family in the midst of you doing that.
Just for your own happiness.
And that comes back around our conversations. Can black people be racist? Systemically, no, but we put each other down in that way all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's another thing I don't understand. Like, why is there black on black crime? Why is there so much to a point where?
Because we ain't got nowhere else to go. If we in the same hood, and
constantly,
and you got $500 and I got $3, I'm finna take you out. Cause you got $500. I just came up $497. Now I got $503. I need that. That's how I'm finna eat for like the next week or two. So it's like it comes down to survival of the fittest if we really want to talk about it. I mean, even amongst this campus, we have white students that go to a HBCU. I have yet to see anyone disrespect them. I have yet to see them disrespect anyone here. And I feel like if white people can come and embrace our culture and be amongst us and not feel threatened, why are we threatened by our own people?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I completely agree.
I dig it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if I could go to a white neighborhood and cool it and still be perpetrated or persecuted or being suspicious because I'm in a white neighborhood that most white people don't see black people in, that's an issue. But if a white dude comes in the hood, like, 9 times out of 10, the hood gonna embrace him. Just being honest. They be like, look, you white. As long as you ain't no funny business, you can kick it around here. You can come over and whatnot. And then they teach them the culture. But for some reason, when it's black people wanting to learn, I ain't gonna hold you, I don't know any white people that wants to learn white culture, but you know, you have black people who prefer to be around white people, and I'm not mad at that. But why is it when they go into that culture, they're still seeing the same racism within that? Like interracialness. I'm gonna say, like, let's say interracial friendships.
White people don't have any culture. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay.
Right.
I'm sorry. I just because I don't want to. Because it seemed like you had a role going, and white people don't have any culture. They just don't.
I mean, they don't.
Everything that they got
is European.
Everything that they got, literally all man-made things, are built on the backs of minorities.
I mean, in a sense, if you want to say taking other people's land, music, people, and all that culture, then yeah, they have their own culture. It's stealing. That's their culture, pretty much. Yeah.
White people have no culture.
Honestly, it's, for
Irish,
example,
European,
white
all up in
people.
there, maybe,
So let me ask you this
but
question.
white people in America, no.
Let me ask y'all this question. In America, since you just said white people don't have culture, if we talking about white America has culture.
How so?
What is their culture? That you want to know? Like, all right, so their culture is this. They came over here. They had slaves. They invaded the land. They ran the natives out. They took their money. Years later, gave them money back, and still kept money. And on top of that, they have hot dogs, hamburgers. These are known as American foods. This is what society categorizes American foods. Think about it. If you go to a Chinese restaurant right now in America, I guarantee you it's not real Chinese. It's American Chinese food. Think about it. It's American Chinese food. And to white Americans, they think that this is their country. So in a sense, they have some type of culture.
But how is it culture when you're taking somebody else. That's like taking somebody's
Because
idea.
when you think about it, right?
Right.
That is their
All
culture.
the-
Their
but all
culture
the-
is invading.
But no, like literally, I mean, I'll give you that. Their
Yeah.
culture is violence and invasion. But I mean, as far as like having things, because I can't remember like a dictionary definition for culture, but I know it has something to do with like traditions
Beliefs.
and art and beliefs and something like that.
Mhm.
And well, you know what? You got it, because their
That's-
belief is
it we
conquer,
gonna come in,
invade,
we gonna
and
come
violence,
in,
you know?
take what
You
you
got
got,
that.
we gonna make it
Right.
ours, say it was
Definitely,
ours, we
'cause
gonna
what I
rewrite
was-
the history.
Because what I was gonna say was that, you know, all the things that they learned to do,
They learned
as
from
far
black
as
people.
like, yeah, they learned from the natives, they learned from black people.
Where do you think they got slavery from? They went to Africa, saw they saw that Africans were selling
Yeah.
other Africans and said, oh, we finna go over to America and do that. Or India, in our case. Bro thought he was in India when he got here. Christopher Columbus thought he was in India. So,
Yeah.
they got it. I mean, in a sense,
but
I see what you're saying.
But
though.
like you got me there. That because their belief is centered around conquering and invading and violence.
Divide
I
and
would argue
conquer.
that's a huge part of their culture to this day
Okay.
is violence
So how would y'all feel?
and stealing.
Yeah.
For
How would
sure.
y'all feel if we had a white student union that only white people could go into? None of us could touch it. Just a white student union,
You mean like right now?
like right now, and an HBCU. Like let's say tomorrow you wake up and there's a white student union.
Oh man, the only thing that makes me
Like I'm questioning that. No funny. I would if we had a white student
I
union.
would really have to like I need to know why y'all need a white student union.
What? Okay,
For
now
what reason?
the reasoning behind them having a white student union. I'm gonna just create one. Would be
Okay.
the white people feel as though they don't have a place to call theirs.
I mean, go to ODU. You can be
Right.
straight.
Or
You
go
can
to
go
any
to-
other
But why should they
PWI?
have to travel off campus to go to somewhere that to be comfortable? You know what I'm saying?
Oh dang. Okay.
But
I mean, okay, because the reason I can't really argue against that is because it's the same reason they have black student unions on PWI campuses, is because they don't have anywhere comfortable to feel on campus. So why should they have to go off campus to go and find somewhere comfortable? But I don't know. I feel like for me that might just be a bias that I have, that it just wouldn't make me feel comfortable because. But dang, yeah, I can't argue
yeah,
against
I'm
it.
lost for words on
I
that
just
one.
can't.
The white
like-
student, hey,
it's
the white
like-
student union.
Well, my first question would be, what do you need a white student union for? Do you feel any type of oppression at a HBCU? Our all-inclusive HBCU, for one, we may be historically black, but we're never going to discriminate against other people. That's the difference between us and white people, is we love all people, regardless of their skin color, because that is what we were taught. We were not taught to hate. If a black person has a certain reaction to a white person, it's just a natural reaction because of the things that we've been through. But a white student union, it's like white people go here for free. People don't know that. White people were literally treated really well at HBCUs, actually, because a lot of them are on scholarship, like a minority scholarship or a sports scholarship or a band scholarship, taking the place of a black student who is well deserving of that as well. So they're literally taking up, not that they're taking up space, like in a bad way, but it's like they're literally like, they took an opportunity away from a black student because they were white. The difference is that doesn't happen as a PWIs. Like, I don't know, contrary to belief, but affirmative action was not designed for black people. Affirmative action barely benefited us in any way. That's just a narrative that white people want to push all the time. But you don't need a white student union. The reason that black student unions existed is because black people are marginalized at PWIs and their voices are very silent. They need to feel that community because they're like one of 5 black people in their classes, or one of the only black people in their classes. So they're not the same, because I just don't think that white people feel oppressed at a HBCU, and they shouldn't feel oppressed because, like, what are you oppressed about?
I'm
Yeah.
personally, would I be mad? I wouldn't necessarily be mad at first instant. I would be confused because I want to understand why a black HBCU decided to put a white student union on the campus.
Yeah, I feel like that does
What,
kind
like,
of
that's
defeat the
contra-
purpose
Of an HBCU, you're contradicting yourself.
Of our whole-
Why would you put
yeah.
a white HBCU, well, not a white HBCU, but a white student union at a historically black college or university?
Right.
That's like going to Howard University, and next thing you know, since it's already halfway gentrified, they have a white Howard and a black Howard. Why would you do that? What is the difference?
Yeah. There's.
I feel like for me, it's just in any situation, whenever white people band together, just that kind of makes me nervous.
Yeah, I think
For
I think
some
anytime
reason,
white people get together,
whenever
they plotting.
it's white X, Y, and Z, I'm like, I'm scared. Mainly because whenever they get together, what do? They just start
Clan rallies.
ruining
That's what
stuff.
do.
They
Clan
just
rallies.
mess everything up, and they make everybody uncomfortable, and they say crazy stuff, and they do crazy stuff. I'm just, I wouldn't be here for it. And I mean, on top of that, when white people come to an HBCU, in most cases, it's because it's of their own volition. They wanted to do that. They're here on scholarship for sports. You know, like I have not personally. I've not seen many non-athlete white students on this campus. So based off of that, I'm gonna assume that you're here because you got a scholarship. A lot of people come here. Most of the people I know that came here, especially the ones that live here, including myself, came here because it was cheaper. Because that's what I could afford.
Mm-hmm. But even
they could go literally anywhere else. You decided to be here, so be here.
But even in that aspect, like this, gonna be my closing comment. Even saying that, there are white kids that go to this school and only hang around the white people, hang around the white folk that also go here.
Right. So it's like you're not really here for the HBCU experience. You're just here for the money, because that's what you're getting.
Right. Well, this is Let's Talk. We're gonna give a special thank you to Josh and Vania. I'm Khalil Williams. What it is and what it do. We out.
Let's talk all the problems that we've been through. Let's talk how the money for the rent through. Let's talk about the problems that we had. Good with the bad, happy and sad. I'm just thankful I got some people that feel the way I do. And if you don't, here's what we can do. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk.